So, Marc, favorite Muay Thai weapon?
Kick, head kick.
Head kick. Okay.
Oh, can I take that back?
Okay.
Leg kick.
Leg kick. Favorite fight you've won?
Favorite fight I've won, lion fight here by low kicks.
Favorite fighter?
American or Thai?
Let's do both.
Of all time? So of all time, Deckers for sure.
Deckers?
Yep. I like Dida a lot. He's one of my favorites to watch. I feel like not that many people like go back and watch his stuff, but his fights with Deckers are great, and I love his style.
A little tangential. What was the movie that Dida was in, or what was the movie about him? Do you remember?
I don't remember the movie about him. No. I didn't even know that. To be honest, I didn't even know there was a movie about him.
I'm pretty sure there was a movie about him, or
Dia Fieri, right?
Yeah. Most underrated type of training.
Swimming.
Best Muay Thai promotion.
Coalition.
One thing most people don't know about you.
Let's see, pretty open book, but I guess if I had to pick something, that's a tough one. I don't know. Most things people know about me.
Well, do most people know your favorite food?
I don't even know my favorite food.
You don't know. All right. One word of advice for fighters. Just one word.
Endure.
Okay. On a scale of 1 to 10, how difficult is it to get to your position?
In life or in fighting?
In fighting.
Say the question one more time.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the hardest, how difficult is it to get into your position?
So I'd say my position, just being honest of what it is, I mean, it depends on the person. It could be a 10 for, it could be a 5 for some. I mean, in terms of just being like in a professional, or like literally where I'm at in fighting?
Where you're at in fighting.
In the grand scheme of all the fighters that are out there, I'd say, I'm a pretty harsh critic, but I'd say like a 4.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And how did you get started?
I got started in fighting when I moved to Albuquerque in 2016, just for a summer opportunity to train at Jackson Wink. At the time, they didn't have an amateur team, so they had a form you filled out online, and they just asked a bunch of questions about your background, like what if you had any fighting experience before. And I didn't have any fighting experience, but I wrestled in high school. I was training at a local Muay Thai gym. I had pretty horrible striking, but they said, hey, if you can come for the 2-month period, and if you can hang and you're okay, then you can stay. And that's kind of where it started.
So 9 years later, we're here.
Mm-hmm.
So you started at Jackson Wink, but before that, was that when you were at the Muay Thai Institute in Utah? That's like where you sort of
So that was the first time I started Muay Thai. Yeah, so I started grappling prior to that in, let's see, this was about 2010, 2011. I was at Trey Blast Gym, Montana. And then I moved to Utah, and I started going to a place called Fusion BJJ, which is attached to the Muay Thai Institute in Utah. And the place was enormous. And I definitely had a passion for Muay Thai, but I was really young and was already kind of went the grappling route for the past like 6-7 months, and didn't click. I didn't have the social skills at the time. I was to really, I guess, immerse myself in the gym culture there. So I didn't really train too much at the Muay Thai Institute, but it was an awesome place. I don't think it's still open, but it was pretty cool.
So you were at Jackson Winks for 2 months, you said?
So
it ended up being longer.
So the original plan was I was living in New York, working just a retail job, training at a Muay Thai gym and a strength and conditioning gym, and I was going to school close to full time. It was either full time or close to full time. And for summer break, travel plans exactly were to come to Jackson Wink for 2 months and then do a 2-week trip to Thailand, which was something that I'd wanted to do since I was 18. So at the time, I think when I actually made it to Jackson Wink, I was 22, 23. And then about 3/4 through my stay, my girlfriend and I at the time ended up splitting in New York, which, I mean, her and I are best friends now. So I was like, you know, and then I just kind of had this thing of like, maybe, like, this is where I was like, maybe this is possible that I could pursue this, you know? So I got offered a fight in Grand Junction, Colorado. So I ended up not doing the Thailand trip, staying to train for that, and I won that fight, but that was probably, I mean, even though I won, it was one of the most, I think, interesting debuts ever. So it was an outside venue. I went with my best friend, Clay. He still corners me to this day, like whether it's BKFC or whatever. But, and obviously, like, I'd only actually been to a few fight events before. So it's an outside venue. I'm not the hometown guy. Like, I was fighting a hometown guy at the time, but first round, everything goes okay. Like, we exchange a little bit. I get a couple takedowns, and then second round, we're same kind of thing. I have him up against the cage, and it starts raining.
Oh,
yeah. And it starts raining, and my foot, I was throwing leg kicks in that fight, and my foot just started blowing up, and we have to go to the back. And mind you, like, this is my first ever fight experience. So they bring us in the back, and he's on one side of the curtain, and I'm on the other, and my foot is starting to really blow up, and there's people who are like going back and forth from the curtain being like, dude, his leg is messed up, and then I'm thinking to myself, like, dude, I think my foot's broken. And I remember telling Clay, and he's just like, shh, don't say anything, just jump, like jump rope or something. I don't know if it was a jump rope or he said just start hopping, stay warm.
Oh, because they stopped the fight.
They stopped it. Yeah, so like until the rain stopped. So then we went back in the locker room. It was probably 15-20 minutes before we went back out, like,
for the last round.
So they started, so I didn't get position, but they just started us in the middle of round 2, and then I had won round 1, round 2, and then round 3. Like, I think that was like a cool experience too, because it was very obvious that he was going to come full force.
Yeah.
I ended up winning the fight by unanimous decision. But it was definitely eye-opening of how different sparring was. Because, I mean, the past 2-3 months before, and even all the gyms I was at before, I mean, I struggled in the striking department. Like, I was always getting my ass kicked. And I think just the look at, like, my general aesthetic, people think that I think I'm tough sometimes. Like, I'm tattooed and I'm quiet. So, like I think it can easily be misread as that I think I'm like this tough person, and it's like, but I wish I had like a video clip of just over the years of how many times I've just gotten my ass beat in the gym by so many different people. Like, it's been, you know, but it's been a very good experience because, like, it's helped me kind of refine my training methods, you know. And then after that fight, I did another fight here
in Albuquerque,
Las Cruces. So and that one was another just fun experience too. So it was essentially, I get on the scale. It was, I believe, supposed to be 160. I took it short notice. It was and then I'm very fortunate that I have a friend like Clay that pushes me to do the things that I want to do, because, I mean, obviously I'm still having nerves, like, I'm still early in my career, and then we're about to walk out the door, and then the reason the fight didn't happen is the kid who I was going to fight was like 18, and he looked like he was probably 14, and his coach literally just looked at me and was like, no. So I was like, and obviously I was like, darn, but in my head I was like, oh, good, we get to get the fuck out of here. But anyway, so we're walking out the door, and the matchmaker's like, actually, we have this guy at 170, and I'm just like thinking like, oh, good, Clay's gonna be like, no way, and he's like, we'll take it, and I'm like, oh. So I mean, and it was a very evenly matched, I guess, skill wise. Like, he'd probably been training the same amount of time I had. So I won that fight by TKO.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I mean, and then, so that's kind of where that happened. And then where I ended up moving for a little bit was I had prior internships that I like accepted in college. So I didn't want to not honor the obligations. Like I had no want to go back to school, and it was really like a spur of the notice, like, or spur of the moment decision, because I knew it was very important to my parents that I finished school, and also I just didn't want to. I don't like not being a man of my word.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, for sure.
So
for sure.
I had an internship for Hasbro in Rhode Island, and I was probably every single day going back and forth.
About doing it or not? Yes.
Because
No. Yes. No.
Yeah, because I already made the decision that I wasn't going back to New York. So I was already like, I mean, this was probably September, maybe October, and I went, and I wouldn't have had to leave till end of December. So after Christmas, it started in January. I ended up deciding, like, I went to go visit my parents, and then I came back to Albuquerque, and I told everyone, I was like, all right, I'm going to do this internship, and then I'm coming back.
Yeah.
So I went to do the internship, and I absolutely, and it wasn't anything, it wasn't for me.
Yeah,
like, just once I started this, I couldn't go back to that way of life, you know. So I was still training every day at a boxing gym
In Connecticut.
in Rhode Island.
Rhode Island.
Yep. And then let's see, and then I was training at a place called Triforce here and there, which is an MMA gym. There's a lot of New England guys that train out of there, so I was going back and forth, but steadily training at the boxing gym, and with one of the coaches I was doing boxing, and then another fighter, Nate Andrews, I was training with him out of that gym as well. So I was training every day, but I really just wanted to get back here. There was a couple times actually that there were fights that came up here that I accepted, and I was getting ready to fly back to do them, just didn't work out. But the training up there really taught me a lot of lessons, in the sense of I got injured a lot. I got a lot of head injuries.
In Rhode Island.
Yes.
Yeah,
so
that's
like,
no good.
And I got a concussion, and then I really just didn't, in my mind, like, this is still in that era, I guess, of like, don't be a pussy, like, it's not a big deal, like, and I'd accepted a fight in New York, in my hometown, which was super exciting for me, and then I didn't want to back out of that, and so I kept going back to training, and I get a stat concussion, so a concussion on top of the concussion.
Oh, yeah, that is very no good.
Yeah, so I was like, for probably like a year and a half, like, struggling, just, I mean, I could still operate, but like, just it felt like my thoughts were back here, but they wouldn't come out properly. Like, my speech was really slurred, and I definitely paid like a hefty price, and like a hefty lesson of just like, it takes more courage to not do stupid sparring, and like, just either tell your partner to slow it down, or just not do it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a knock on anyone's, there's so many different perspectives on the benefits versus pros and cons of hard sparring. But for me, like, over time, I've just realized, in my opinion, I'd much rather have lens sparring, like play spar, and like practice timing, technique, strength and conditioning, drill, like nonstop, and get the experience and put the risk under the lights.
Yeah.
You know, so like, I'd rather fight more frequently and have the experience of the crowd and everything all at once, versus when you're in a gym and you just get drawn into these wars, that it's like, it doesn't matter, you know, because it's like, it's not that you're not really, in my opinion, going to gain a bunch of skill. I think that there's a time and place for it with certain fighters, you know, like, for instance, if we have a fighter that struggles or freezes, like when they get hit, or then like, and we still don't have to go too hard to their head, of course not, but the thing is they might need to have that pressure sparring, you know, a
little bit more.
Yes. So but yeah, so then after Rhode Island, ended up coming back here, and that's when I went to Thailand.
One sec, I want to check. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay, and the first trip to Thailand, you traveled a bit. You went to Bangkok, Phuket, then you ended up in Chiang Mai.
Correct.
This was
2017.
2017. So what was your feelings like, or what was the Muay Thai scene like? Where did you go exactly?
Yeah, so the first place we stopped at, say again?
I think you mentioned you went to Jockey Gym?
So I didn't go to Jockey Gym.
You didn't go there?
No. So I went to, we went to the new Yoke House Center. So like,
Oh, okay.
It's not new now, but back then, the one that they opened.
In Asok.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where they have like the pro shop. So it's the one. I think there's only one in Bangkok.
Yeah. It's downtown.
Yes.
Downtown.
So we were going there, and we only stayed in Bangkok for maybe a week, but it was still a really good experience, and I had a lot of good training. And then from there we went to Phuket. I trained at Sinbi for about a week, and it was. I really liked Sinbi a lot. I mean, I liked how the practices were longer. They really like were able to identify kind of like your skill level without even talking to you, so they like could easily put you in the right group with the right trainer. And then I ended up going to Lana and Chiang Mai, and then that's where I met Kru Dang, and then still have a bunch of people that I consider close friends that I met on that first trip, and that's when I had my first fight. Was about 2 weeks into.
Oh, pretty fast. I mean, you were.
So I was there for about
a month.
Yes.
But you bounce around a little bit. But like, I mean, if you're training for a week in Bangkok, then a week or two at Simbi, you're gonna be fit to fight for sure.
Yeah, and I had stayed in training from the time of like when I got to Jackson Wink in 2016 all the way through. I mean, I fought at the end of the Providence trip as well for a New England title. Did not win, but and then went into Thailand and fought then.
Yeah. What was the fight like at what you fought at what's it called up
Taipei.
there? Taipei.
Yep.
What was that like? And that was your first fight in Thailand,
yes.
Right? So what was that experience like for you?
So I think that was, I mean, it was a great experience. I mean, looking back at it, I mean, it was not like a very not in a disrespectful way, but I don't feel like it was an extremely skilled opponent. It was a newer Thai fighter, but it was against a Thai. He was a young guy, so I remember the trainer telling me like, "It's your young man, he's young." Like, it was really that simple, because like you don't know what to expect. Like on my poster, it didn't have my opponent; it just had me. So you're just sometimes like, at the time, I was so curious about like what the person looked like, who I was fighting. I didn't know any of the details, you know. So. And then just I remember being in the back, just kind of, because everyone's kind of in the same warm-up area, and then you're just kind of looking at like you can't even tell people's size really, of like if they're your weight class or not. You might see somebody that looks huge that's 30 pounds less than you, you know. So, but the fight went to I think the third round, and I mean, we were both just exhausted. I mean, it was just like a swinging, I mean, just swinging for the fences. And so I won that fight by KO in, I think, the third. It was either third or the fourth. But it was, I think, the experience of whatever comes through the gate type deal it was more of like a mental thing for me than anything. You know, it could have been, I mean, I was ready for it to be the hardest possible thing, that somebody was just going to come wreck me right away, or not, you know, like there was it's just a young man, you know, so, but you know, like that mentality, I think has helped me a ton tremendously in focusing on my game plan, improving myself to be ready for whatever it is that comes out, you know. So, but no, I thought it was a great first experience, you know. I mean, I'm always going to be a harsh critic, and I look back to that fight, and it was funny because I didn't have blue or red tie shorts, so they put me in these funny pink shorts. And they just thought it was so funny, and like, so like all the pictures I have these bright pink shorts on, and because I mean I was still pretty tattooed back then too, so I think they got kind of like a kick of how goofy I looked. But
100%.
Oh yeah,
100%.
And I just remember thinking, like, even in the moment, I was just thinking like, dude, it's gonna suck so bad if I lose, and it's like I'm just gonna look like such an idiot. But either way, so but it was good, you know. And then I mean, I immediately just was like, this is what I want to do. I mean, based on the training and just based on just being in Thailand, like that whole experience is like, I didn't even think about MMA or grappling probably ever again after that. Like, and then my goal was just to get back as much as I could, you know, based on what I could afford at the time. I was still going to school and was still here working in Albuquerque, training. So pretty much, I think it was every like 2 or 3 months I would spend here, and then I would go back.
For like a month, or how long?
Like a month and a half.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so how many fights did you rack up in Chiang Mai then?
So I did 3 in 20. One in end of 2017, 2 in 2018, and then I did 2 more in 2019. So 5 total in Chiang Mai, between Taipei and Chiang Mai Boxing Stadium.
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I loved fighting in Chiang Mai Boxing Stadium. That was fun. It was like it just was a different feel. Yeah.
What were the sort of differences in the stadiums?
So I think Taipei is obviously like. Got like the bar feel to it, you know, like it's got a cool feel to it, you know, it's like right in the square, but I think when Chiang Mai Boxing Stadium, even though it's small, it still feels like a stadium, you know, like in the sense of like you feel like it was a step up in competition, you know, like just even having the catwalk come down, you know, just having, I mean, the capes.
It feels more real.
Yes, for sure. Like you feel like you're moving up a little bit, even though obviously it's not the Bangkok circuit or anything like that. But still, it felt like an advancement. And the better guys in the gym at the time were fighting there. So even prior to me fighting there, like it was something that I wanted to, because I think there's 4 or 5 out there right now, because there's Lake Crow, which I never fought at, and then Taipei, Chiang Mai Boxing Stadium. There's the one at the Night Bazaar. What's it called? Anusan, if it's still open.
It's okay.
Yeah.
So you're going back and forth, and then you're doing well. Then COVID hits. Plus, you tore your ACL, correct? What was the timing on these things?
So let's see. So this is 2018, and then the last fight I had in 2018 is when I fought South African.
The big guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that was a whole like very eye-opening but good experience too. Didn't win that one.
Yeah. I know you told me yesterday about it, but I think it's a good story to share.
Sure.
What happened?
Yeah. So this was my 3rd trip at this point. So the trip before I fought.
And you're going out like every 6 months. Every
3. So I was
the trainers know you.
Yes.
Yeah.
So at that point, at I want to say my 2nd trip, Lana hadn't split yet, because there was a split with Lana, but there was. I think it was right at the cusp of when they were splitting on my 2nd trip. I fought another time, which was at Chiang Mai Boxing Stadium, which was a very different experience in the first one, just because you're sitting in the chairs, like you can see, like it's not like in at Taipei where you're just all in the back and then you guys kind of just get oiled up and out you go, but like you have like your little locker rooms and stuff like that, and then you're sitting in the chair. And I remember for me, this was like the second fight was I think 2nd or 3rd on the card, but it was a different experience because they have like the VIPs come down and like you know, you get the flowers, and then so you're just standing there with your opponent, but like I could just tell, like this was the first time I think I had an opponent that just really looked like he didn't like me. And it was another Thai, and I mean his legs were like tree trunks, but and like right off the gate, like in round 1, he just starts chopping at my legs. Like I think it wasn't even a second into it, so it was definitely like okay, like for real. So, and then I remember I threw a head kick as he was going around the corner in this first round. He threw me over the ropes like Royal Rumble style.
Yeah, he
and
mad for sure.
Yeah, he did not. He was like, and I mean they were definitely affecting me. And then I ended up, I think, 2nd round, head kick KO'd him. Same exact spot. Like when he was going around the corner, he kept dropping his hands when he would circle. So it like wrapped his neck. And I mean, for me, it was like one of my favorite experiences in the fight. Like I just, it was just, you know, you just feel great. Like, I guess having a little bit of diversity, you know? So, and then I went back again, and then to New Mexico, came back for a 3rd time, and now I was training in the back of, so Lana had split, and I was training in the back part of Chiang Mai Boxing Stadium. They had like a little gym there. So, and then they're getting me this fight, and I told them that I really wanted to fight for a title, and in my head it's like, I didn't deserve to fight for a title. Not even close. But I just had this air to me of like I'm ready to go, like thinking I'm a lot better than I am. Mind you, it's a lot of it comes from the excitement of enjoying what you're doing. It's not to be like big-headed, but it was either way. I was very vocal about like what I wanted to do and my ambitions, right? So we're sitting outside Chiang Mai Boxing Stadium one night for another one of our fighters' fights, and the poster comes out and they show it to me, and it was another foreigner, which is weird. Like you don't see that too much in the stadiums when it's the main event. It's usually foreigner versus Thai. That's the appeal, I guess, on a lot of the things. So I was like, like this, it's okay. Like So I was still like, let's go. Like, I mean, still at that point in my career, I was having like nerves based off of appearances, you know, but, and I remember like even in the picture, I mean, his name is Rambo. And like, he just looked like, and he was coming from, at the time, Sitsong Penang, so Revolution. So it was a real fight. You know?
Real fight.
And I remember talking to my buddy Clay about it, and he finds the guy on Instagram. Like I didn't find him, but he's like, dude, I think this guy's really big. And I was like, yeah. So I remember trying to tell my trainer, new trainer at the time, Doyen, and he was like, no, he's but big. So I'm like, okay, cool. He's short. So like, so that kind of like made it like. It calmed me down because for my style, I'm like, this is fun. Like, I'm happy with that. So, and not saying that fighting shorter people is easier, but at the time, like, I was just it made the idea of just using my length and gave me a bit of strategy at the time. But anyway, so fight day comes. I mean, I feel ready to go. And then this is where, like, I learned the importance of, like, mental shifts and staying in it. But I pull up to the stadium on the bike, and there's one person that's towering over everyone outside. And I remember I was with a friend of mine, and I'm like, of course, that's got to be the guy. And this dude's got to be like 6'2", I mean, I'm 6 foot, but I mean, he was definitely a couple inches taller than me, and just, dude, stacked, like, huge. I mean, and I remember seeing him just going, saying, "What's up, man?" Like, just like in my head, I'm just like, holy shit. And then we're in the back, I'm getting oiled up, and the whole time, like, that's where my mental decline kind of started. Because a lot of people were like, on the team were like, dude, don't do it. Like, don't be an idiot. And in my head, still, just like I said, like with the stuff in Rhode Island, like I don't have the, I guess not, I mean, courage you could use as a word, but just the concept of like, this isn't a good idea, right? I'm like, well, the posters are done. They're all over town. Like, I mean, like it's the main event. I'm not gonna like say no, right? Like, you know, because I don't want to make the trainers upset. I don't want to, you know, but we got ready way early. Like, I think I was wrapped up and oiled up in like the second fight. So I'm just standing there like
waiting.
Yes.
Forever.
And like, yes. And like, and we're not in like the back rooms. We're like right in the chairs, and still like, you could just feel the people like especially the foreigners at the gym, like worried, like, you know, like, and then, I remember like the mindset I had was, and looking back at it was wrong. I was like, well, I'm supposed to lose. I mean, like in the sense of like, he's a lot bigger, like, but if I pull it off, it's a positive. You know? Like, that's good. So I was like, but still, instead of just having the mindset of like, I'm gonna win, and then dealing with whatever happens afterwards, it was very much like, well, like I mean, just based on how massive this dude is, he should mop the floor with me. But But anyway, so then fight happens, like, and throws a kick, check it, and then all of a sudden we go into the clinch, and he just starts clubbing me, like, and I'm like, I'm fine, like these aren't like actually making it through, like I'm I'm totally fine. And then I remember they break it, and I'm just like wobbled, and I'm like, damn. I was like, those actually did make a difference. So I remember like thinking like, maybe this is what it feels like right before you get knocked out. I remember like thinking like that, and then I pulled his jab down and threw a head kick, and it wobbled him like, so I was like so excited that like I just rushed in, like not tactical at all, and we get into the clinch again because I thought that was the time I could finish it, like, and he just hits you with a knee to the body, and that was it. The sad part about it is like looking back at it, I know, and just being transparent, and that I could have gotten up.
Right. Mhm.
Like, it's just the honest truth of it.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I mean, I wish I could say that, like, my body shut down and this and that, but I could have gotten up, you know? And, but I think that experience of, like, asking you shall receive, you know, and, like, instead of just kind of training hard and letting my trainers just following that path, you know, like, you're going to get hard fights if you continue to fight on the circuit. There's no need to try and rush it to get to something.
For sure.
And I think, like, the idea, I was so tied to the idea of winning a title to give myself validation of, like, I don't suck.
Yeah.
You know, but at the same time, like, it taught me that, like, don't get me wrong, I still have desires to be champion someday, but, like, against another champion.
Yeah.
Like, against someone who's earned that position, not just, like, a random fight, if that makes sense. So,
yeah, that's, I think it's like you win. Like, I think a lot of times when you lose or when you have these hard moments in your career, I think those are the real learning points.
Oh, for sure.
You know, like, I have definitely felt like I fought out in Isan before and I'd gotten a little sick before. I was like, oh, this guy is, it's Isan. It's probably not going to be that hard. But the guy had trained pretty hard for the fight, Francis Watsona, was like, I can't believe he trained for this fight. And like, he kneed me to the body and I just went, and the referee was like, I sort of went down and the referee was like, do you want to keep fighting? And in my head, I just did the math. I was like, it's the fourth round. Yeah. I'm getting like 3,000 baht. Like, what? Like, I don't feel good. I'm good.
Right.
And just like understanding that part of my decision-making process made it a lot easier for the next time to be like, oh, okay, to prevent that from happening, I need to do like 1, 2, and 3.
For sure.
So you went back and forth. I think one of the big things I want to talk to you about is, of course, Coalition. So you've had your second show already.
Correct.
You have the third one lined up for September. Can you tell me, let's talk a little bit about the big idea of it.
For sure.
What is the goal of it? What are you trying to do?
Definitely. So even back when I was in the time frame that we were talking about, like, still, I was a huge fan of Lion Fight. Like, even when I started Muay Thai, like, I loved the show Lion Fight. I loved the production of it. I loved, like, just watching the American Muay Thai fighters. And so with Lion Fight, I ended up fighting for Lion Fight after that fight with Rambo. And that was the one that I did here that I won, fought with Brett and Stripling on that card. But so essentially what I wanted to do with Coalition was design a show that, from a fighter's perspective, was something where the fighters were taken care of. I mean, and that the money wasn't, I mean, obviously for purses, we want to not just lowball them. Like, I mean, obviously, like, really do our best to give fair purses and make sure that everyone is taken care of, both in terms of from their stay, their experience with us, like the communication, and that the matchups are good, that we really just...
obviously, Lion Fight was a big influence on you. What direction are you looking to go with Coalition?
For sure. So the direction we're looking to go with Coalition is giving fighters, both amateur and pro, great opportunities. Giving them the exposure and media they need to succeed, whether it is with us, whether it is in any other promotion, but just giving them those tools by giving them good media in terms of before the fight, giving them previews, like really just making it an entertainment piece as well. Because just due to the nature of how fighting is now, you need those assets to grow your brand. And it's something that a lot of fighters don't like to do on their own, but they do like it when they're given like good media. Like, if you give them good media, they'll use it and it helps them. So it works both ways. So it's like, if they play ball with us in the sense of, and everyone's been great, like with letting us do media with them, like taking the time out of their training camp to let us go up and film, and then having a good production at the show and experience at the show where we can have good media content in terms of fights they can show for matchmakers or whatever, and also just for their own stuff. it's just overall making sure that we're looking out for the fighters and also just giving a great production that fighters want to fight for the show, you know, so that they're getting taken care of. Like, essentially, they're not having to sacrifice anything. Because sometimes you might fight for a big show, but you'll risk, like, you might be willing to accept lower pay because you're on this big show, or vice versa. Like, it just depends. Like, so being able to, like, give, I guess, a bit of everything good, and making sure they're taking, like, their medicals are taken care of. They don't have to worry about that. Like, that they get to be on, like, a really cool stage, and I mean, in front of either a hometown crowd or close by, and then just doing fun promotions with them. Like, we did the wild card concept on the last one, but just really just trying to get American Muay Thai fighters off the ground and build pros here, and in doing so, putting together a real show and production. And it's not a knock against any other promotions, but it's more of just something that is, like, when people, both spectators and the fighters, get there, they're like, this is freaking awesome.
Yeah, one of the things that both Aaron and Maggie said, so obviously Aaron and Maggie have fought all over Thailand, and a little bit in the States. So, you know, they were like, oh, Fairtex fight, solid show. You know, Coalition, solid show. And the same thing with Matthew Van Valkenburg. He was like, oh, it went really well. You know, the show here in Albuquerque, it was maybe about 1,500 to 2,000 people, and it was full. Correct?
It was full. So I think the numbers were a little lower than that, just due to the venue size. Yeah. But it was a packed house for sure.
For perspective, Lumpini is about like 2,500.
Yeah.
And Raja Demner, I think, is slightly bigger, or one of them. They're about between 4 to 2,500 is capacity for those venues. So it's like,
it might, and I think
slightly smaller than like the main stadiums in Thailand.
For sure. So I think, like, with the tables and everything sold, it was probably around 800 to 900 people. But when you pack a place like that, it feels like there's more people. So it had that feel to it for sure. And especially for doing it here in Albuquerque, that was the first traditional Muay Thai Pro-Am show that had been here in terms of with the music and the way that we did everything. I mean, Line Fight had come through before, but still a very different vibe than what we were doing. But yeah, I think that was like a big test for me, was having a lot of the WBC people that we work with, like, either have fighters on the show or be part of it, and just in attendance, because they're going to give you their honest feedback, you know,
for sure.
and that's what we wanted, you know, like. So that was a really cool thing to see, and have Matt's fighter Joe fought on the card, Joe Sanderson, and it was great to have him, and Crew Rich had fighters on the show, and it was just a really cool thing to bring kind of all the pieces of where I had been together, you know, because, like, I have that relationship with Crew Rich from when I trained with him, so being able to have, like, some of Team Hawaii come, like, you know, I'm meeting Matt at the WC summer camp, and having Joe Sanderson come, and just really, I guess, like, almost these little pieces, and like even having, like, Pete Peterson and Jonathan Pu'u and Vanessa there, who had met at all different parts of, like, my life and career in Muay Thai, like, just whether it be training or just at a seminar, like, all kind of come together and see this thing, and just, I guess, leave it in everyone's hands of what do you guys think, you know. So that was a really great thing. And then Bobby Peak being the matchmaker and really helping it come together, both on this one, wild card,
and the one in September as well.
Yes. So
yeah, let's talk a little bit about that. What is the plan? What's going on with the show upcoming in September?
For sure. So that one is September 13th in Houston. I can't say the location just yet, but this week we'll be able to release the exact location. The tentative plans are having, the main event will be Pete Statnick and Pavel out of Brett's gym, fighting for the 168-pound national WC national title. So
awesome.
So that's really cool. And then we've got a couple other not a couple. We have a really stacked pro card on that one, and we have a very stacked amateur card. So I just got back from the Texas Muay Thai show last week, and was able to see a lot of the fighters that are going to.
Okay, so talking about the upcoming card, Pete, obviously Pete and Powell. Then you have a stacked amateur card. You went out to Texas Muay Thai and got to see a lot of the fighters live for the amateur. One of the fights I'm excited about is actually Joe Stripling versus Jonathan Harris. Why do you think that's a good fight, or what do you think about this?
Well, because I think both of them are such strong veterans in the sport, both as coaches and as fighters. You know, I mean, Joe is a staple in the heavyweight division. You know, and he always puts on an entertaining.
Yeah,
fight,
he's an entertainer for sure.
And I mean, Coach Harris is, just a great fighter as well. And I think that being able to bring that fight together, especially offering, because Joe retired, but it wasn't really. Just offering him the fight. It wasn't like a hard negotiation. It was just like, it's a traditional Muay Thai fight, and we'd love to have you on the card, and there's a lot of respect from both people, right? So I think sometimes those make the best fights. At least with me, it's like when I have sometimes people view it as strange, but sometimes I almost like the idea of fighting my friends or people I really respect, because that's where you put on a performance, and you don't hold back at all, but I guess your dance partner draws it out of you.
Yeah,
and that's something that I look forward to with that. We also have a 126-pound fight with Matt Munoz, or title fight with Matt Munoz and Nick July, who fought on our last card. So that fight was originally scheduled they fought. Nick fought on Coalition 1. They were supposed to fight on Coalition 1, and Matt got injured, so they're finally going to fight. It's a very, very good stylistic fight for those two. So that will crown a new champion. So what we're working on is really building our champion roster so we can start to build brackets and stuff like that. And then on the amateur side, we have a 126-pound, I want to say, I believe it's, I'll double check that. But we have a 4-man tournament. That's the washer, but we have a 4-man tournament, and it's similar to wild card. So we like doing kind of fun concepts. So with this one, all 4 people are local to Houston. They all have very similar records. They're all definitely in the ranking. We can make a title fight with any of them, and it would be good to go. But what we're going to do is something similar to wild card, where we're going to do votes and ticket sales and all that of who
gets a shot.
Yes, who's going to be the one which 2 are going to fight for the title. So essentially, these 4 people are going to have to train for each other.
Yeah,
and then day before, they're going to find out which one they're fighting, and then the runner-up fight, the winner of that fight will be guaranteed the number 1 contender spot. So I'm excited for doing that. And then we also will have 2 on the amateur side, 2 regional WBC titles on the line with coalition titles as well.
Oh, that's good. You're marrying them.
Yes, and this one just kind of happened to work out that way. So one of our coalition title holders will be fighting for a different belt, and also the regional, and then we'll have a second one.
So tell me a little bit more about the branding side of things.
Yeah, so I think whether it's Coalition or Kingdom or Ghost or any of the brands that we're working with, it's definitely just creating an identity to all the ideas. And it makes it fun because it's not just based off of things I like, but working with a team of the media guys I have, so Romo, Jay, Eric, and really coming up with something that we think and believe people will like, and that gives a brand a separate identity. And for instance, with Coalition, it gives the name, the branding behind it, and it ties it to the show very well. So when you hear the name Coalition and you see the graphics, it makes it part of the show that you want to fight on.
And then one of the other parts of your ecosystem is, of course, Kingdom, and you have the massive project coming up, which will be finished end of this year. just run us through what's going on real quick.
Yeah, so we're finishing out the build out of the facility here in Albuquerque. We started it in 2022, end of 2022 is when that process started. But it's a Thai inspired in terms of architecture building. It's 15,000 square feet. It's gonna be something very special, very different that really brings, the goal of it is to bring as many Muay Thai opportunities to the community as possible, because we can do events there, we can have a lot of seminars there, we'll be able to increase our class size and really just hone in on growing the community of Muay Thai here in Albuquerque. And it has, I mean, it really is a full service facility in the sense of we'll have orthotherapists, we'll have strength and conditioning facility, we'll have our media team in-house. So it'll really be a hub for where we can get stuff ready for Coalition, for Kingdom, for anything we're working on, and really just help businesses grow we're working with, and also just give opportunities for people here, whether it's just in the community or outside of New Mexico, to come in, do full camps here, do retreats, and just grow that here.
Yeah, we got a chance to look at it the other day. It's very impressive. I like, I saw the layouts when we were in Thailand, and then seeing it in person was like a different level, because you have the second floor. Everyone can look down on this center ring area. There's spaces, there's 4 bathrooms with showers. That's important. There's the S&C area, like you said, orthopedics, potential spot for a pool. There's enough space for like barbecues, and like you can have real shows very regularly there, and it's like accommodating.
Yes.
Which I think, in my experience at least, one of the major hurdles in America for shows is not having a venue.
Correct.
Like the venue is like a massive part of the budget. So I mean, even you look overseas at like one Lumpini, one of the reasons why one championship has the shows so often at Lumpini is because it's subsidized.
Right.
So like it cuts like a massive amount of the cost.
No, absolutely. I think having stuff in-house will save a lot on cost and really just give us the ability to do more. I mean, just like we talked about earlier, like in terms of when I talk to like our students about like not focusing so much on hard sparring, but trying to get more fights and experience, then we're actually able to do that for them. Like for instance, if we're running shows every month, even if they're MTAC style or just amateur shows, whatever we decide to do, we can provide those opportunities so that translates fully. Because sometimes I feel like that activity in the gym happens so much because there aren't those opportunities.
Yeah, 100%.
So that a lot of times, like, hard sparring is people's fight, and I understand that, So really being able to make that vision happen kind of completes the overall picture of what we're trying to do, and that's one, changing the training culture, but also building something, like you said, that is accommodating to all these ideas.
Yeah, I think it's and it's a proven model as well, because you look at, say, Simbi, they have the stadium attached to the gym. You were training behind Chiang Mai Stadium. A lot of the stadiums have gyms associated with them, like right there, or will have, they're baked into the venue itself.
Yes.
So it's a proven model.
Absolutely.
It just hasn't been done here in America yet.
For sure. And I think like one thing that makes it that I'm excited for too is that I look forward to helping like other like gyms too, if they want to put on shows, or even, just having that opportunity to work with other gyms. I mean, even other promotions, like we don't want to be greedy. We want to grow this community. We want to be able to bring in people that like and work together on things. So obviously it's great for Kingdom. It's great for the sport, but it's also going to be great for New Mexico, and just something very different. It's taken a long time to really get this going off the ground. It's been a lot of headaches and stress, and it feels like the past 2 years have been a decade of my life. But I'm excited that we're getting close. I mean, like you said, it's from the outside it looks finished, and on the inside it's getting there.
I mean, inside it looks like it's about, I mean,
really just some
60%, but like that's all the railings, you know, all the infrastructure. Then the other side is like the drywall, the mats, like that's half of it for sure.
Yep. So I think we're almost there, and it's definitely been, I think for me it's been I think honestly fighting has made me a patient person in the sense of sticking with it, and like I said, enduring, because there's a lot of times where I've just like wanted to just figure out like, how do I get out of this? But you keep going. Like I believed in the vision when I showed it to Aaron and Maggie 5 years ago or whatever it was, when I was showing them the drawings, or when I showed you the drawings.
Yeah, for sure.
And there's been a lot of people like who I've kind of shown like before we actually started building, like this is what I'm going to do, and it's something like personal, they don't believe it, but even myself, I'm just like, I completely understand why they think it's not going to be real, right? You know, but I mean, the one thing that I think like I'll give myself a little credit for is pulling the trigger on things. You know, like if I believe in the idea and I can really logically make it where it makes sense, I understand there's going to be hurdles and it's never going to go the way you think it's going to go, but you go for it. You know, just like in fighting, there's never any guarantees it's going to be how you think it's going to be. Like if I look at my trajectory of where I was in 2018 in terms of, I mean, I went from having an MMA fight in 2016 to, you know, starting in the pro circuit in Thailand in 2017, and then doing the American pro circuit into the pro American circuit in 2019, and earning a sponsorship right before I had to get foot surgery, and then I had to tore my ACL. So the things that you can do in a short period of time with the right willpower and just a direct, like clear vision can be done. The key is not giving a fuck what people say. And what I mean is like, it's not like I don't take people's advice or want to hear them out, but if you can't be discouraged for simply the fact of being discouraged because it's going to be hard or it's seemingly impossible. Like everything is going to be seemingly impossible until you go for it. And you have to be okay with failing, but you're going to regret if you don't try. So I think, and because we've talked about that a lot this week with fighters and with their like dreams, you know, in the sense of if you can be discouraged easily by somebody just telling you that like doesn't seem likely, like just being told it's possible to me is, like I said, like it's that Dumb and Dumber moment where he's like, so you're saying there's a chance? It's like that is an amazing thing, because I will tell you to this day, it's funny because for the longest time I was told I sucked. Now like I just like, and it used to bother me, but now like I don't care if I became champion of one or RWS, I'll still say I suck. And it's like I almost enjoy it, because it's like all that means is that you can get better, and that like there's more to do. There's no fun in just like, there's no end to this. Sucking is relative, you know? Yeah,
that's a good point.
You know, it's like in the sense of, I mean, there's so many people doing like this sport. There's so many people trying to achieve their dreams. If you're just in that race, you're ahead of the game. Yeah. You know?
That's probably a good way to wrap things up. Is there anything you wanted to talk about that we didn't get a chance to touch on?
No, I mean, I appreciate you having me on, and like, thank you for coming to the seminar here at Kingdom. Like, that's a big part of, like I said, is how this, having guys like you and all the people who have come in from WBC and from just all over participate, whether it be Coalition or Kingdom, and give it a chance and just come see it and be part of it is what makes this possible. Because New Mexico is definitely an awesome fight state, but we're new to Muay Thai. So really bringing in the people that know Muay Thai and, you know, sharing their experience, your guys' experience, bringing these seminars is what gives the vision just a little bit more, because I'm just a guy with a mat, you know? But then when the real thing comes, and like a lot more people can see it, and it helps them push their vision and their dreams, and that's kind of the purpose of all this, you know? Like I said, we'll wrap here, or you said we'll wrap here, but it's that getting people to view all these things as reasons to go for it. It might not be the same avenue. I'm not saying everyone should go build a building. But it's like, if it's something you want to do and you're able to try, go do it. You know, that's how I see it.
Good.
Sweet.
So along with this new wave of podcasts I'm going to be doing, I'm also looking for a few 3 to 4 media partnerships. My last podcast series, I'm Fighting in Thailand, did very, very well, and some of my partners got extended contracts for the entire 4 years that I did that. And with this new series of podcasts, I'm also going to be doing articles, YouTube, blogs, and more. So if you are interested in being in a very select team of individuals and companies helping grow the sport, make sure to contact me. You can do so by hitting me up via Instagram, Matt Lucas Muay Thai. If you are interested in more content like this, check out this video here, or here, somewhere.